Glad that you guys are here. It's good to spend Sunday with you. Man, it's been a good service so far. I thought I could just end in prayer and we'd be good. But yeah, it's amazing. Man, we need this gathering of the believers. It's so important. I know there's a lot going on in our world. What a change in just the last week. We had one of our highest attendance since COVID last week. And then all of a sudden the governor does something, whether you agree or disagree, that significantly affects how many people go to church in our whole state. Man, it's crazy, but I'm continuing to be reminded of how important the gathering of believers is. And so I'm glad that you guys made it, and those out in the parking lot and those watching online, we are glad that you are continuing to stay connected as well, the body of Christ here. We got amazing people here at Crossroads, and it's cool to see what God is doing through them and in us all. Man, we have a war. There's a war going on in our hearts and our minds that the enemy is trying to defeat us, and he uses all kinds of different weapons, and we need to continue to come back to his word, to gather together, to get ourselves right with God in communion. Wow, how good of a time is that to remember what Jesus did and understand that even though I'm saved, I still wander from God, and I need to come back. I need to come back to him. And I need to remember that sacrifice and the washing away of my sins and celebrate that. And so it's an honor to take part in that today with you guys. Tim is our director of discipleship, as he mentioned. He's also, we hired him as our pastoral resident. And what that means is that he's our pastor in training. You know, he changed fields. He was in I like to say accounting, but banking industry. But the Lord got a hold of his heart and brought him here, and he's been just a blessing to have. Just an awesome guy who loves the Lord and loves joining in on this new calling that God has for him. And so you'll be seeing him more involved in pastoral duties as we're training him in as he's going through seminary. And my hope is that we'll vote in the next year or two as members to call him as the next pastor of Crossroads Church. So I'm excited about that in the future. And also another change that we've had recently, we've been kind of changing and moving around staff and really focusing them in their roles of what they do really well. And Pastor Preston, in just the last couple of years, he has overseen not only youth ministry, but all of family ministries. And he's done a great job leading that team. And as our church has grown and we're continuing to position for the future, things have just, before the COVID thing, we were just exploding, and it was going awesome. Our staff are just dynamite. You guys, people are just coming through the doors like crazy. And so we're positioning really to reach up to 1,000 people on a given week without COVID in the mix, okay? So down the road. And so we're positioning for that. We've moved Preston into a new role, and the board came up with this title that we're giving Preston. So he's not going to be the youth pastor or family ministries pastor, but he's now the pastor of ministry here at Crossroads. And so he's going to be overseeing a lot of the ministry that goes on here at the church. And so we're sharing all the different roles with Tim, with Preston, with Kim, and all the other staff. And man, our staff is dynamite. That mix-up event, you know, I didn't catch the first one. We were away. But isn't it so cool that our family ministry staff, even in the midst of just their world be turned upside down, their ministry be turned upside down, they're coming up with creative ways to connect our kids, our families. And I can't wait to just a couple weeks from now, I think 3 weeks from now, they'll be taking over and show us how to really teach the word. So that'll be good as they come and lead on Sunday morning and next about 3 weeks from now. So the message today is I'm titling it, When a Man Needs a Woman. Okay, when a man needs a woman. That's a song by James Carr in 1968. You might also think, you might want to change that title. That's the title. You might want to say, when a man loves a woman. That might ring a little true to some of you Michael Bolton fans out there or whatever. That's not the message today. The message is when a man needs a woman. Check out that. That song's got some soul to it too. But that's the title today. We're going to look at the fourth judge, Deborah, today. So I'm going to pray and then we'll dive in. God, I thank you for the gathering of the believers. God, I was reminded this week that the church is not the believers, but the gathering of the believers. That's the church. As we gather together in your name, God. God, we know that these hearts of ours are sinful. We're born with this sin nature. And even those of us who have followed you for so long, we still struggle and we still battle every single day. But God, because of Jesus Christ, we have victory over sin. That we do not have to be a slave to sin anymore, but we can be released from bondage. And God, I pray that you continue to draw us to you and help us to have your heart. And God, as we see these people in the book of Judges, your people, the Israelites, move further and further away from you, God, I pray that you would draw us closer and closer to you. And God, I pray for the so many people in our community that are isolated, that are quarantined, that are disconnected, that are lonely. God, that you would grab them and bring them near. And that you'd help us to reach out to them. And that we would be the people you're calling us to be in such a time as this. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, I lead a small group at Crossroads. Believe in small groups. It's awesome. Make a big church small. Get into each other's grills a little bit. Learn, get into the scriptures more. And we got a small group kickoff that's going to come in September that Tim is working really hard for and starting to talk to small group leaders. If you're interested in being a part of a small group, he's the guy. We've struggled with leadership in the past because we haven't had a full-time person to do this, and now we do. And that's so awesome. Our small group, we had a volunteer leadership team. We worked really hard, and but really we needed this person. We have him. And so if you want to get in a small group, he's the guy to talk to. But I'm not the best scheduler for our small groups. Like, I'm not always on the ball. I'm like balancing my other 8,000 things that I do. And sometimes a small group kind of takes a back seat. But this summer and throughout the COVID period, actually mostly this summer, we weren't meeting as a small group much. And one of the people in our group, a woman, we were in a couple small group, she messaged our group and just said something like, "Are we ever going to meet?" She said it nicer than that, but that's kind of what, I got the idea. Like, we're not meeting, and we'd like to meet. Where are you, Jeff? And so in the absence of my leadership and maybe organization in this point, she stood up and she led. And she organized the group and scheduled some meetings. And so men, in the absence of our leadership, understand that women will lead. In the absence of our leadership, women will lead, and they are perfectly capable to do so in many, many instances. But I believe they're also wanting men to lead. I also believe that they are wanting men to lead. Now, not every woman wants a man to lead. There's this huge feminist movement today that's anti-man. But how many women would appreciate a man going ahead of them and opening the door for them? Yeah, I haven't had too many incidents where you walk in, you open the door for someone, and they're like, no. They're like offended. No, you go in. I can get my own door. That's rare. Maybe every once in a blue moon. But women appreciate those kind of things. And the scripture is crystal clear that men are to lead and to lead as servant leaders. That God's created some order in this world. And when the ship is going down, women and children are to board the life rafts first. Right? We know that. Because men are to be sacrificial leaders. And when we watch movies, like a favorite movie of mine growing up was, well, like as I was a little older, was Princess Bride. You guys know that movie? Or Kevin Costner's Robin Hood. That got me, watching that movie got me an ambulance ride once as I tried to jump for a rope at a park, just like Kevin Costner. Or the Disney movies, right? Okay, Disney movies. Okay, so you got Princess Bride, you got Robin Hood, you got the Disney movie where the man is risking life and limb to save the girl, to rescue the girl, right? And that's our call as men. That's our call as men. That's sacrificial leadership. Does that mean women are incapable? Absolutely not. Does that mean women can't lead or aren't good leaders? Absolutely not. But God calls men to serve and to provide and to sacrifice for them. And in our absence, they will lead with or without us. Let me tell you a story. I was on a missions trip, and this was when I was a youth pastor here at Crossroads years ago. And we were in Minneapolis before the rioting, and we had these like 15-passenger vans. You know, every youth ministry has the old 15-passenger vans. So we got this rental van, and we're all piled in like sardines in this rental van. And I had this other leader with me. And well, we would go to all these different locations that we bounce around to help out and serve and stuff like that. All these different projects. And when we'd stop, you know, the leaders, me and the female leader would get out of the van, but the kids couldn't get the door open. And you know, at first you're like, come on. You know what I mean? Like my kids try to get the door open sometimes in the car. It's like, give it some muscle, you know? What are you guys doing? And so they're trying to get the door open. Like, oh, we can't open it. It's like, step aside. So I pull on it, then go. You know, just yanking on the door. It's not going. Pretty soon, all throughout the trip, we're fighting this door that sometimes opens and most of the time does not open. And it's probably a little bit of a safety hazard, you know? Like the kids are like filing out the back of the van. Like this is some emergency drill or something because the door won't open. And so there's this one time, you know, guys and us, when the car breaks down on the side of the road, even though if we know nothing about a car, we'll pop the hood and look at the engine and be like, just sit there for a little while. How many guys really fix it right there? No one does. Come on. You know, you need parts if it's broken, don't you? You aren't going to fix nothing. Let me check some caps here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I did that. I go to the door. I'm like looking at it. You know, I'm checking it, body checks. You know, I'm checking the thing and hitting it with my hips and my hands and, you know, getting it. And nothing's going on. And all of a sudden, this co-leader with me, Kristen, she kind of pushes me aside a little bit. I was a little offended. She kind of like pushed me aside and lays hands on the door and starts praying over the door. I'm not kidding. She's praying over the door. I'm like, come on, sister. Lord, we know that, you know, you're here with us and we need this door to work as we're doing ministry. Would you please just allow this door to work? Amen. And all the kids are watching, and I look over like, she's crazy. Okay, she's crazy. You know, this is mechanical. And I go to open the door, and it slides open perfectly. And shuts, and we never had another problem. Must have been something I fixed. Men, where are we? Where are we? You know, on Mother's Day, families all come to church with mom. But on Father's Day, families stay home with dad. And that is a window into our hearts. prayer. Men, where are you at with prayer? With devotions in the home? Because women are looking to us to lead in those areas, but in our absence, they will lead. They will lead. In unstable society, women are vulnerable. When war comes, women are vulnerable. And maybe we don't see that today. Maybe we're not used to that in our modern society. But in those war-torn areas of the world, when the militias sweep through, women are violated. They're kidnapped, and they're abused, brutalized. Women aren't exactly like men. Women aren't built like men. They aren't wired exactly like men. Now, I've seen some women that could kick my butt. Not you, Jeannie. I could take you, maybe. But some of them MMA ladies is like, and some of those CrossFitters. I don't do CrossFit because I was taught that I'm not supposed to get beat by a girl. But men are built different. The deadlift world record for men is 1,000 pounds. 1,000 pounds. And for women, it's 670 pounds. Okay? We have a different build. Does that make us better than women? Absolutely not. It's just an understanding that God created us different. And there's many, many things that women are better at than men. My wife has understanding for our kids. I don't even know what that is. Like when they get hurt, she gives them Band-Aids. I don't think I've ever given my kid a Band-Aid. I don't even believe in them. It took me like 5 years to bring a first aid kit on a youth trip. And some of you entrusted your kids with me. Maybe some gauze and some duct tape. And really, it's Kleenex, not gauze. But, I was trying to give myself some credit, But women have understanding and care. And now I'm making generalizations, right? Not every woman, not every man. But generally speaking, women have more compassion than men. They're more nurturing. They're better at communication. You ever see a guy try to communicate? I was listening to this comedian, and his wife left him, and he was having a conversation with his dad, and his dad, he's like, my dad wouldn't say nothing to me. My wife just left me, and all he said is, hey, son, it looks like your car needs some new tires. It's like, my dad had nothing, but he went and bought me some new tires, so he didn't have to talk to me about my wife just leaving me. But women have that care and that compassion and that communication and that love, and it's so awesome. And I'm so glad that women aren't wired exactly like men. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. We are different, and that difference is good. But we are both equal. We're both equal. And in the Bible, in the scriptures, God, and the example that Jesus leaves with us is an elevation of the status of women. In these Old Testament times, thousands of years ago, women were relegated, and they were undervalued and underappreciated, and only appreciated and not shown that appreciation, but the value only left in those domestic duties and the other things, But God takes this people, these women that he created, and he elevates them. I believe it was even scandalous, not only to have a woman listed in the scriptures, but to have books of the Bible written of these heroes in the faith. And Deborah is one of these women. Judges chapter 4. After Ehud's death, the Israelites again did evil in the Lord's sight. So the Lord turned them over to King Jabin of Hazor, a Canaanite king. The commander of his army was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth Hagoyim. Okay, just so you know, a lot of these words, I have no idea how to pronounce. Okay, so if you're reading through your Bible, like, I can't pronounce none of this, okay? Neither can pastors, we just make it up, okay? And then we just Google it and figure it out sometimes. So anyways, Harosheth Hagoyim. Sisera, who had 900 iron chariots, ruthlessly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years, okay? So here's what's happening. God's people are supposed to follow him. Yep, we'll follow you, God. However, they don't. And he says, blessings if you obey, curses if you walk away. So they walk away after Ehud and after the third judge, who we only have a couple sentences about. They walk away again, and God turns them over to their enemies for 20 years. But the people recognized their sin, and they cried out to the Lord for help. They finally, after 20 years of turning their backs on God, they paused and said, God, we're imperfect. God, I'm sorry. God, we turned our backs on you, and we want to come back. And God heard them, and he rose a prophet named Deborah. She was the wife of Lapidoth. There's a prophet who was judging Israel at the time. She would sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim. And the Israelites, they would go to her for judgment. They were looking to her for wisdom and her rulings. One day, she sent for Barak, the son of Abinoam. I even have it phonetically spelled out, and I still can't do it. Abinoam, who lived in Kadesh, in the land of Naphtali. She said to him, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, commands you. Call out 10,000 warriors from the tribes of Nephtali and Zebulun at Mount Tabor, and I will call out Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, along with his chariots and warriors, to the Kishon River. And there I will give you victory over him. Okay, so here's what's happening. God's saying, hey, I'm going to deliver you from this enemy. So this dude named Barak, hey, Deborah says, you're going to be the military leader. And I need you to go get 10,000 troops and take them to this battle. And God's going to stir up the enemy, and he will meet you there. And God will give you victory. But here's what this man responds to Deborah. He says, I will go, but only if you go with me. The picture I get is this strong, big, burly guy. And he's like, honey, would you hold my hand through this battle? Would you walk with me there? Would you just make sure that nothing bad happens to me? Now, it wasn't uncommon for a military leader to bring the help of a spiritual leader. But even so, I see hesitancy in Barak. That he's not confident in the Lord giving them victory. I believe he's scared. He says, I'll only go if Deborah, if you come with. Very well, she replied. I will go with you. But you will receive no honor in this venture. For the Lord's victory over Sisera will be at the hands of a woman. And that was a dig at him. And she went. She went. And they went to war. And Barak, with Deborah there, defeat the enemy. But Deborah says, you know what? I'm going to get the W on this one. Because you didn't trust God enough, and you needed me to be there. And they conquered that enemy and drove them away There was only one person left, and that was the commander of the army who fled. And in this story, what's interesting is Deborah isn't the only woman hero in the story, okay? PG-13 here. Get ready. I don't think Promised Land Fusion are going to have this in their story, but this is some intense stuff here. Buckle up. There's another hero in the story that's a woman. Her name is Jael. So you got one guy left. They wiped out 10,000 troops. And one guy is left, and he's tired. He's worn out. He's thirsty. He's fleeing for his life. He knows that they're going to kill him. And so he finds this tent. And in this tent is Jael. And he thinks he's safe. Judges 4:18. Come into my tent, sir, she said. Come in and don't be afraid. Okay, you see this, women have this nurturing and the care. And she's going to give him something to drink, right? So he went into her tent and she covered him with a blanket. Probably gave him a couple Band-Aids. Please give me some water, he said. Now don't think I'm trying to demean women by all this, okay? Because get ready. Here she comes. I am woman, hear me roar. Get ready, that's going to happen. He said, I'm thirsty. So she gave him some milk from a leather bag and covered him again. Verse 20, stand at the door of the tent, he told her. If anyone comes and asks you if anyone is here, say no. But when Sisera fell asleep from exhaustion, Jael quickly crept up to him with a hammer and a tent peg in her hand. A hammer would have been enough, probably. That would have been enough. Then she drove the tent peg through his temple into the ground. It went through his head into the ground, and he died. So the moral of the story is women seem harmless, but when you least expect it, while you're sleeping, they will take a tent peg and a hammer and drive you through into the ground. So men, sleep with 1 to 3 eyes opened. Women can handle themselves. They can. They can be strong. That heart that they have, that compassion, is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. And the lack of care and compassion in us, men, is a sign of weakness, not strength. And maybe we've been taught something different, but we got to get that in our heads. Love is good. Care is good. Picture that comedian that just lost his wife. His wife just walked out on him, and his dad was taught to be a strong man and not to have any problems and pick himself up by his bootstraps. And all he can do is buy his son tires because he doesn't want to enter into his son's pain. And he might be strong on the outside, but he is weak on the inside. What's strength? What does strength look like? It's not just muscle, but it's heart. It's heart. Women are strong and they can fight, but they also appreciate being loved. And they appreciate, I believe, being led, especially spiritually. They appreciate when you hold the door for them, when you bring them flowers, when you talk with them and engage in real conversation. And men, our call is to serve, to sacrifice, and to love. That's our call. To serve, to sacrifice, and to love. Women are not to be used and abused. They're to be treasured. And we're to treat them like the diamonds and rubies that they are. Let me pray. God, women have been exploited through the centuries. That men in power have taken advantage of them. We have treated them as images for just what they can do for us. But God, I pray that you would give us a heart of wisdom to see their value. I think of my mom and my wife, my grandmas, who played such a significant role in helping me be the person that I am, and to actually make me so much better than who I was. God, I pray that you would tenderize our hearts and strengthen us on the inside. And that, God, all of us would play the role that you're calling us to play. I thank you for Deborah, for her standing up and staying strong, even when others weren't. And God, I pray that together, that we'd walk alongside one another and make each other great and accomplish everything that you have for us. I thank you, and I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. 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 Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. God bless.